that had captured the aspirations of Kenyans. It was such an unfortunate thing, but it had to happen. It's like when you're in a marriage, in an abusive marriage, a marriage where there's no tolerance, there's no respect, you are forced to call it quits.
Is that your key grievance for you, speaking on behalf of Ford Kenya this evening?
Absolutely.
You don't want to add more to that?
There's still so much, but as time goes by, you know, it was not a wish that NASA should come to an end. It is indeed painful, because this is the coalition whereby we are founder members, we had a vision, we had an objective, just like a marriage that you celebrated together, proper wedding, everything together. And when you had a partner who was disrespectful, mistrust.
Who is this partner? I mean,
we'll disclose that as time goes by.
Okay, there's a lot of mystery in the studio today, but helping us to understand the scenario of what actually happened today, when NASA affiliates Wiper, Ford Kenya and ANC quit NASA to join the One Kenya Alliance, and we actually have an ANC member here, that's Kasim Tandaza. I think what Kenyans are struggling to understand this evening, before I allow Gladys Wanga to come in, is that as this is happening, you are also inviting ODM to join. I believe that is on the cards. I think what Kenyans are confused by is that if ODM joins NASA, it sounds like a game where you hop from one election vehicle to another. Help us understand what really happened today.
Well, to me, today was the formality of winding up NASA. But in reality, everybody knows that NASA stopped breathing quite a while ago. And that is the reality on the ground. And it is in public domain. At one point, that had to happen, and for the good, if you were to ask me. My opinion is that it happened for the good. Because NASA, having not won the last election with the same team, and, you know, I will liken that to a football team, where you have the goalkeeper, the striker, the midfield, but you expect the striker to be giving you the goals, essentially. You all coordinate, you play well, but you expect the striker to be giving you the goals. Now, for NASA, having a striker who cannot score, who has never scored, even in previous matches, I think it makes a lot of sense that certainly we need to change.
The striker you're talking about, the presidential candidate in 2017?
Right, Honorable
Raila Odinga.
Yeah, of course, he didn't win the last election and the other ones. The reasons could be varied. But to me, the fundamental thing is here, going forward, if we are to win that match, certainly we need to change the striker. To me, that is the most striking point about this one. So, well, about who the striker will be, that might not be a discussion for today. But going forward, it was very fundamental that certainly we wind up. NASA, it never won. Come up with new team, come up with new players, come up with a new striker, and hoping with that new formation, going forward 2022 August, we should be able to win. To me, I think that's the most fundamental thing.
Okay, and
otherwise, doing the same things over and over again, the same striker over and over again who can score, and hoping that will score, I think is a waste of time.
I'm sure Gladys has a thing or two to say. Before she says that, football lovers would say maybe you lacked the defenders to support the striker.
The defenders don't score goals. You know, this is a teamwork. But who scores the goal?
When you say new team,
yeah.
What do you mean by new team? It's the same players minus ODM.
No. I think it's not yet closed shop, and I think this is what Kenyans should understand, that we are very categorical, that, well, we are coming up with the new formation. There are so many players outside there, even from Coast, from Northeastern, from any other part of this country. There are so many players out there, and good players for that matter, and that is what we are looking for. So whoever thinks that One Kenya Alliance is about the 4 party leaders who are in that right now, I think is totally missing the point.
Okay, hang on there. Gladys, come in. We've heard of bullying and strong arming by one side of NASA for the last 4 years. In fact, Chris Wamalwa refused to name the party that he feels is doing that. But we've heard it before in this studio that it's ODM that they feel has been, you know, the aggressor in all this. I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
Thank you, Wahiga. And what I'd like to say is that, you know, NASA was what it was, a vibrant, you know, very dynamic pre-election coalition. And pre-election coalitions all over the world, if you look, do not live beyond one election cycle. So NASA, you know, for while it lasted, served its purpose. And now we are facing yet another election. and people have to reorganize. And what has happened to NASA is normal, you know, is normal what happens within pre-election coalitions, not just in this country. And we had CORD, for example, before NASA. We've had NAC, we've had many coalitions in the past. And once they serve their purpose, you know, they dissolve in the manner that NASA has. And there should be no hard feelings. I mean, people should, and like we wish our partners well. I mean, if they move on, they move on. You know, we had NASA, then the agreement says if 3 partners, you know, leave, then NASA dies. So as ODM, we were left with a corpse, so we had to, you know, bury it. So I think let's not live with hard feelings. Let's just say NASA is what it is, a pre-election coalition that has lived its term, that has served. But what I'm a bit taken aback, you know, about is the pomp and fanfare, you know, around the exit of NASA. I mean, this was like the 5th, I don't know whether it is the 6th or the 10th press conference about exiting NASA. Why the fanfare? And then let me come to this issue of the striker. And you know, people must be fair here. Do you know, party leader for, and I didn't want to go that direction, but because they have brought it, and I will really just stick to my lane in terms of looking at where we want to go as a party. But because my brother Tandaza has brought it up, the issue of a striker, I mean, he speaks as if Musalia Mudavadi has not run for president of this country and gotten 400,000 votes. As if Kalonzo Musyoka has not run for president of this country. So this issue of striking, you might actually look and see that you have a sharp striker, but maybe suppliers are short. But we didn't come for a blame game, because Kenyans don't eat blame games. Kenyans do not eat blame games. Kenyans want to see which direction we're moving in. And NASA has ended, as you know, naturally, as it should. And therefore, as us on the Raila side of the coalition or the ODM team, we're looking out for new partners. We're looking to build a bigger, broader, more inclusive coalition based on national unity, based on stability, you know, looking at how to create a stable environment in which to move the country forward. So that is where we are looking, a broad-based coalition, including with our former partners. I mean, it's open, you know, moving forward. So I think the direction we must not go in is the direction of saying you are in abusive, abusive marriage. I mean, really, this was a pre-election coalition. We did our part as the largest party, and so this issue of abuse should not come in. We must look at where we want this country to go. Okay, how do we want to move the country forward? And that is where we want to go as ODM. Broad coalition, you know, inclusive coalition.
Okay, hang on there, sir. Norman can come in. Yeah. Norman, before I ask my question, do you have a response to some of the...
I think what's very clear is we need to define what Kenyans want at this moment. And that should be the driving force behind the political formations. And I think the battle lines are drawn, that it is the rest versus UDA. That is undeniable.
So everyone here on this table today versus UDA?
Eventually, we will have to confront the elephant in the room. That how do we deal with the UDA elephant? And it calls on all of us, because the reason for dissolving NASA is so that there are new ideas developed, there are new players brought on board that crystallize the issues that affect the Kenyan people today. Because the issues that we had in 2017 are not necessarily the issues bedeviling Kenyan people today. Remember that we didn't...
I want to interrupt you to ask you a question. Based off what you've just said, you've said we must understand what Kenyans want today.
Yes.
Whatever will drive the philosophy of whatever coalition is eventually formed.
Yes.
Then you say the other goal, however, is to beat UDA. Is that what Kenyans want? Don't Kenyans have big ideas?
The biggest obstacle that must be stopped, because a continuation of the last 9 years is UDA. A departure from that is what the other partners and parties are offering. As to whether these parties will concretize it in a single idea is a matter that will remain on the table for the next few months, because we are still far away. Remember that NASA was formed in April 2017, just a few months to the August 8th general election in 2017. So we still have a lot of time to debate these issues and sort ourselves out. So there is no urgency at this time in arriving at the idea of how we approach the next general election. What we need now to do is to concretize the issues that face the country today and how best to resolve them, and which candidate takes them, which is the best candidate to take those issues forward.
Okay, you've confused me there a little bit, because on one hand you say, on one hand, the issues that Kenyans are facing, but then on the other hand you say the elephant in the room is UDA and defeating it. Or for you is defeating UDA?
For me, forthright, without beating around the bush, the enemy of the Kenyan people today is UDA and William Ruto.
Okay, that is your view.
Yes.
That's your view.
Yes.
He has his supporters who believe that your side of the political divide is what you've just said. Chris Wamalwa, let's talk about coalitions, which is what has brought us here today for this particular discussion. They are brought together or separated by ideologies, ideas, policies, and other things that you don't hear of when it comes to coalitions in Kenya. And he's actually pretty much said that what has brought at least his side together is to defeat a common enemy. In One Kenya Alliance, what is that one ideology? What is that one policy that now brings you together?
Waigwa, I want to let you know that I'm a member of One Kenya Alliance, the political team, and I want to disagree with Honorable Magaya. At no given time that we've said the enemy or our agenda is about UDA. That is as per his own interpretation. At the moment, we are having a lot of realignments. As time goes by, you never know what's going to happen, maybe 4 or 5 months to the general elections. So the aspect of UDA, the meetings I've attended as members of One Kenya Alliance, I think that is in the opinion of Honorable Magaya. As we move forward, one of the critical ideology when it comes to the One Kenya Alliance is about the issue of inclusivity. And when you look at the choice of the name One Kenya Alliance, we want to see Kenya as a united nation, purposes for the issues of inclusivity and improve the welfare of the Kenyans. So as we come together, I wanted to take you back. I know Honorable, my sister here, we've been very close and we've been together in Parliament. And she was very emotional when she was responding to some of the issues we said. And I want us to borrow the words of Chinua Achebe in his Things Fall Apart, where he says, turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hold the falconer. Things fall apart when the center cannot hold. It is true. NASA was a coalition. It serves its purpose. But it was made to go up to 2022. We are not yet at 2022. It has served about 75% of the lifespan. When you go back to code we served the entire shelf life. Then it transformed to NASA. So the two are totally different. And there's a reason why this marriage could not hold up to 2022, for the reasons known to the public. But as we move forward, we've come together with like-minded parties. And I had Raila Amolo Odinga, Prime Minister in Viga, saying he's likely to join us. There's something called lessons learned. Why has NASA not lived its 100% shelf life? I think the issue of mistrust has been there. The issue of respect has been there. It depends with how you interpret this. But as the four parties, there is a lessons learned on the way forward. How do we move together? We've had so many people talking about, it's only a fool who doesn't change. These are wonderful words by Winston Churchill.
But what change is there if the final formation is the same as the original formation?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. When it comes to the issues of lessons learned, we look back and see what happened, what went wrong. Like the issue of mistrust, the issue of respect for each other. We have been here in this studio, whereby our ODM colleagues have been on the front line announcing the death of NASA. After some time, they were again on the front line announcing the resurrection of NASA. And I'm happy it came from the Prime Minister, whereby he said, NASA served its purpose, but we can't rule out working together. So for us to work together, what is likely to be the difference? The difference is about the lessons learned. What happened? Why was there mistrust? Where was there issues of being disrespectful to each other? And that's why I said in a marriage, respect has to be there. And we don't want to go in the details. We want to go forward and see how is this coalition One Kenya Alliance going to form the next government. And for us to form the next government, we must understand the value proposition of Kenyans. Today, Kenyans are really suffering, particularly with this pandemic. Some people cannot put food on their table. Schools are opening. In my own area where I come from, I've seen young men, they can't afford school fees. Companies are closing down as we speak right now. Livelihood is going to be a problem. Right now, when you look at the issues of inflation, are very, very high. And that's why we call upon the government to be sensitive to the people, so that they try, as they come up with some cushioning proposals that will help the common manager. That's why I said our issue here is not about UDA. UDA can be the other side today. Who knows? So is that tomorrow we might hook up with UDA.
So is that the ideology that brings you together? Is it the economy?
The economy, yes, and issues of inclusivity. Okay. The economy is very critical.
I want to allow Honorable Tandaza to come in on this as well. Why go the way of the coalition? Why can't each party, which may have variances in their ideologies, go separate ways to the 2022 election? Why coalitions?
Well, we have a history. We have a history in this country. And apart from the one era party system, which ended way back in up to 1992, and then Moi still had 10 years up to 2002, it has been very evident in our country the way we are brought together as Kenya. We are one Kenya, but the way we are not as unified. You know, these are the hard facts. We are not as unified as you would want to think of, probably UK, where you'll be talking of two parties, or US, where you'll be talking majorly about two parties. We have our own uniqueness. And I think, is it the late, no, he's not late, it's Bob Collymore is late. The first CEO of Safaricom said we have some peculiar habits. Kenyans have their own peculiar habits. So from there, since 2002, NAC won on the basis of a coalition. Those are the facts. And no president has ever won on his part alone. Those are the facts. And therefore, probably we would want to change it at one point. But for now, going towards 2022, to me, from where I sit, it is obvious that whoever will be the president of this country, he needs coalitions of other leaders, he needs coalitions of other regions. And of course, you cannot even claim that you are the master of all the best ideas in this country. You could be a good economist, but of course, you need ideas of sociologists and psychologists and all that. So the idea of coalitions actually brings strength together in terms of ideas. And for this matter, to me, my way of looking at it, the coalitions actually going for should be based on ideologies which you are asking about. And for now, the first and foremost ideology which should be able to bring parties together, coalitions together, is the issue of the economy. We are not really in a very bad situation in terms of our security. So unity, yes. By the economy, I think it is the most hurting problem, which can even bring insecurity if it is not tackled now. So I hope the coalitions that will come, the one I belong to and the others who will join us, will be able now to coalesce around. Actually, to me, it's resurrecting the economy of this country, because where it is, as we say, we've buried NASA, we are more or less about to bury our economy now, which will be very sad for everybody in this country. Whether you are in One Kenya, whether you're in ODM, whether you're in which party, the economy is affecting every person, everybody in this country. And to me, that will be the basis of the ideologies of parties coming together, combining the ideas, seeing how we can move this country forward in terms of economy. Okay, and I'll let our viewers know that you can weigh in. I'm seeing a lot of your feedback. 22422 is the SMS line, #NewsNight. I'll be reading your feedback after this next question. Honorable Wanga, I want to come to you and pick up from where we left off with Honorable Tandaza, why parties can't go alone. And they say that the reason why each of the parties here today cannot go alone is because our parties in this country are largely tribal-based. You can't garner support outside of your tribal strongholds unless you get into a coalition with another party from another tribal stronghold. How wrong would you say, or how far from the truth are those who have that view, or who hold that view? Thank you, Wahiga. I'm going to come to that question around our communities, our ethnicities, and the reason why we need coalitions. But I have to debunk, the myth that NASA has not lived its shelf life. Because nowhere was it said that NASA would live to 2022. NASA was a pre-election coalition. If we captured power and formed government, then we would live together in that house.
because we did not form government, a pre-election coalition is just that. After the election, you know, you decide whether to bring in more coalitions, more parties if you formed government. But if you haven't, like we didn't, people make their own decisions. You saw Chama cha Mashinani. They were part of NASA. When they evaluated their own position, they left quietly, and I saw the party leader of Chama cha Mashinani meeting with, you know, deputy president and so on, trying to make his own new coalition moving into the next election. And that is the same thing that should have happened with any of the other parties that felt that moving into the next election, we need a different vehicle. So the fanfare and the noise and making it look like something wrong has happened, really, there's nothing strange about what has happened. And I think that is what we need all of us to agree, that nothing strange has happened. And I've heard Honorable Wamalwa saying, Right Honorable Raila said he's going to join the One Kenya Alliance. Wahiga,
I don't think I say that.
Or he's going to join them. He said exactly that. And don't interrupt me because
you can't rule out the possibility of working together.
I didn't interrupt you when you said. You said that he said he's going to join them. And those were his exact words.
Okay, you have made your clarification.
Yes,
go ahead.
I never say that.
So, and on that point, I think we need to be very, very clear. One Kenya Alliance, looking at where we want to go as a country, we need a broad-based coalition that carries along all Kenyans. We need a bigger sufuria that can fit everybody. One Kenya, really, I mean, in all honesty and reality, if you look even at the members of the One Kenya, you know, Alliance, and Kanu already said that they are not yet ready to join. So if you look at the three parties, if you look at even the strength, I mean, and we are being realistic here, the strength in parliament of these three parties, and you say everybody else should go and join into that, the suit might not fit, the cloth might not fit everybody who wants to join. So what we want is a broader coalition where all of us, you know, that is inclusive.
How broad are we talking about here?
It's talking big. It's talking carrying Kenya, capturing the imagination of Kenyans from Vanga to Nyatike Wotorum, from Kilifi, you know, to the heart of central Kenya, capturing the northeastern, capturing the imagination of the entire country. So, you know, from the mountain to the lake, this is what we need. We need a broader coalition. And so we are not, I mean, nobody can say we will not work with so and so. People can work together moving into the future, but don't say, and that's what Kenyans are asking. How do you leave your house and go to the next house and then you say, okay, you also come and enter here, and then we say we have formed something new? Kweli hata Kenya, Kenyans will not believe us. But coming back to the question of ethnicities and communities, and I speak for ODM, and ODM is a party that is across this country. ODM is a party that has withstood the test of time.
So why not go it alone? Which is what one viewer, let me read this tweet. One viewer is asking, if all of these parties represented on your show today are national parties, why can't they go it alone?
And this is what I want to discuss now. Because, you know, Kenya is a country of ethnicities. It's a country of communities. And we can't run away from that. We are a country of tribes, Wahiga. And even in the US, when people are going to election, they speak about whites, and this is how whites are going to vote. Blacks, and this is how blacks are going to vote. Latinos, and this is how Latinos are going to vote. You might not call them tribes, but those are communities that block together to ensure that their interests are taken care of. So there is nothing wrong in accepting that we are a nation of communities. We are a nation of tribes. And that is why even the 2010 Constitution, if you look at Article 10, it speaks to the face of Kenya, bringing together people from all corners, so that we look like we are Kenyans. And coming to the point, and Wahiga, you must acknowledge that on this table, you know, we are speaking, and there are three parties who are in one coalition, and I'm the only one. So in terms of time, in terms of time allocation, you need to just accept that, in the sense that
I'm very fair with my time allocation.
You know, these are all members of one coalition,
I don't think so.
And I stand here as ODM. This is Oka you're talking to, and this is ODM. So, so when three of them speak, I can only speak once to try and cover all the issues that they have raised. And so let me come to the issue of where are we going? Where are we going as a country? And why are we looking for this broad-based coalition? We are looking at unifying the nation. Okay. And we began it with the handshake. We are looking at creating lasting stability. And why do we want to create lasting stability? Wahiga, if this country continues in the manner it is, it doesn't matter who comes to power. We'll never prosper. We'll never catch up with Singapore.
Okay.
I haven't made my point. We will never, 3-1. No, you will never catch up with Singapore unless we can deal with the issue of every election, there is no stability running through. And why do I say this? You go to election, the whole of the first year, you are fighting over the legitimacy of that election. The second and third year, you may do something. The third year, towards the end, you're campaigning for the next election. We must do away with that. We must then, after we deal with the issue of unity and stability, then talk about economic prosperity. Once you are productive,
and this is your final
then
point
you
on
have
this.
to go.
Yes.
Yeah, this is my final point.
Yes, please.
Then you have to go to the issue of how do you share that prosperity that you grow, equity in sharing of the prosperity.
That is the ODM vision of whatever coalition.
This is
ODM
the coalition that we are building, and this is where we want to go. But I will speak more to it because this is what affects Kenyans.
I will
and
give
this
you a
is what
chance
they want
to speak more to it. I hope we have the tweets ready because that's what I want to get to. Our viewers have wanted to weigh in on this, and we want to put that up on the screen now. But let me read one or two SMSs here. Onesmus Tiati says, I'm worried about more disagreements on the presidential candidate in the One Kenya Alliance, more than what NASA had. All the candidates seem the same to me. How will they agree on who to lead them? Well, they have representatives here. They'll tell us. Someone else here says, One Kenya Alliance merging with ODM. These are not my words. These are the words of viewers this evening. It's like going back to a toxic relationship and expecting a different result, okay? And one third SMS here. Can One Kenya Alliance live up to the dreams if Raila was to work with a completely different formation? Please, Honorable Wamalwa, make me understand. Honorable Wamalwa, please note that question. And another SMS before we read the tweets. Someone is asking, ask Honorable Wanga, which is the ship that is coming to Homa Bay on Friday? Is it President Uhuru Kenyatta accompanied by that ship? That's what one viewer wants to know. Honorable Wanga, please note that. These are the tweets. Let's put them up on the screen. That's what Kenyans are saying this evening. Let me see here. Okay, someone says here, can someone advise former defunct NASA luminaries to solve their issues in an amicable manner outside the media? All signals are indicating that they might have caught themselves working together in another political outfit soon. Okay, Engineer Lazaro Kanyambok says that. Nasir Magan says, yes, indeed, NASA movement is a thing of the past, but still, it doesn't debar the Right Honorable Raila Odinga to later on join the new political formation that shall be on offer after NASA's moribundity. Okay, I hope that's a... I haven't butchered the English language. That one. George Obango says, watching the show in Kisumu Dunga, why do most politicians come together and form alliances when elections are approaching? Okay, George, thanks for that question. And Brian Sambu, NASA died the day Kalonzo Mudavadi and Wetangula skipped the mock swearing-in ceremony where ODM leader Raila Odinga was sworn in as the people's president. All along, it's been a matter of when and not if the parties will leave NASA. All right, I think we have one or two more. Senior Ndwaru, you say Kenya is a great democracy. The only thing that we lack is discipline and maturity of our party politics. This hide and seek of coalitions every election cycle needs to end. Okay, Senior Ndwaru, we'll take more. I'm seeing so much, but we don't have time. Honorable Malo, I'll come to you because I don't want you to eat Norman Magaya's time. And I want to hear from you, Norman Magaya, on the question of ideology or policy issues. But even as we get to that, one viewer has asked this evening, how will the One Kenya Alliance deal with the issue of who will be the presidential candidate? Is there a formula? Is there a plan? Or maybe I should ask this evening, who is the presidential candidate for One Kenya Alliance?
I think that's the last question I will answer. I will start with the question of what are the issues at hand that the coalition seeks to deal with. And the first one is correctly diagonizing what is the current Kenyan problem. And the current Kenyan problem, number one, is the economy. And the economy affects all the other facets of the nation.
What is the wiper solution?
I'm coming to it.
Okay.
You are interjecting me and
because I have three other panelists who will also beg for more time. So I want to get straight, take me straight to the heart. What is your
I want to speak on authority.
Economic model.
I want to speak on authority, on what the Wiper Party stands for as far as economic resumption is concerned. And one is to firstly correctly diagnose what the current problem is, and then what is the solution that we have. And the first question that we must deal with and confront that affects our economy is the question of corruption. And this sets us apart as to who we can partner with. And that's why I have it in good authority from my party leader as to who he cannot work with as far as the 2022 general election is concerned. And that is why I take exception to the sentiments from Honorable Chris Wamalu, because this is the authority of my party leader, that one is a platform of corruption, that we must curb corruption in the public sector, in procurement, fix it, charge those who are involved, recover public finances that have been lost. Once we close the corruption gap, 2, levelize the taxation system. We must tax those who are getting so much from the economy. The multilateral companies that are investing in this country, that are undertaking infrastructure projects, must be able to account for at least 50% of their profits invested in our country and job creation. 2, we must give tax credits to those that are creating much jobs into the economy, so that we bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. 3 is that we need to grow our middle income economy. 1, you cannot tell us that you want to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor by literally putting money into the poor. It has never worked anywhere in the world.
Okay.
It's a model that is unknown in economic theory. It has never worked anywhere. And you grow the middle income,
yes,
that spur a few to the upper echelons, and that provides room for the lower echelons to come into the middle income economy, and so that you widen the tax base. And this is what Wiper wants to do.
And I want to interrogate that. Do you then believe that none of that is happening right now?
None of it, as it is now, we have a completely disorganized kind of structure that is not able to deliver those, because you have a head of government and his deputy that are not where the right hand is not speaking to the left hand. And so you have a discordance in government. What we have is a government that was constituted by the 2. You have 50% ministers that have been appointed by the deputy. You don't expect them, during the day they owe their allegiance to the president, but the night they report to their appointing master. Well, you cannot have a government that is synchronized. It's the reality. We cannot run away from it. And it's something that we need to fix.
And yet your party is in a partnership of some sort with Jubilee. You cannot give them that feedback.
We came in to provide balance, just on the same basis that ODM came in to provide balance. And I don't think we will have a semblance of a government today if ODM and Wiper did not come in to stabilize.
Okay, finish your point.
And that was done in national interest. The third thing that we must deal with, and which the pandemic has exposed, is the diabolic nature of our health care system. We must have a healthcare system that provides equal opportunity for the rich and the poor to access the same level and quality of healthcare. Right now, what we are having is millions and millions of families selling their properties every day to meet hospital expenses. We must be able to provide a public healthcare system that is responsive, that appreciates its healthcare workers, that are motivated and provide quality healthcare for our people.
Okay.
The fourth thing is that you cannot have a country.
Final thing.
Yes.
You'll have another platform later on for the Wiper manifesto.
Is that you cannot have a country where 10 pages in 3 national newspapers are on auctions, where Kenyans that have attempted to have home ownership are having a rundown with auctioneers on a daily basis. We must be able to create a stabilized system that provides opportunity for Kenyans who are able to invest privately into home ownership, which is the stability of the family unit. We must be able to fix that. And the second thing is that right now we have 14 million Kenyans listed with the credit reference bureaus. We must be able to review and look at the rationale of the credit reference bureau, get Kenyans off that yoke, so that the private sector can lend to Kenyans, and you can be able to spur the medium and small enterprise businesses.
Okay.
You cannot do that when you have people who have low credit scores because they have been listed with the credit reference bureaus.
Okay, I'll ask you to hold. They have given you sufficient time. Honorable Wamalwa, you had asked to interject.
Yes,
go ahead.
Now, when you look at 2007, look at the number of members of parliament ODM had. Look at 2013. Look at 2017. If you do an extrapolation, it's been diminishing. So when you extrapolate that, I have no doubt that even in 2022, it's likely to be even lesser. The issue of coming here and saying we are big. If we are big, don't look for coalitions. Go and compete alone as an individual. Why parties come together? They come together because each party comes with a different kind of strength. Even in corporate organizations, we have mergers and acquisitions. One company might be good in marketing, another one is very good in research and development. They come together for purposes of getting a competitive advantage. So in this context, political parties, coalitions, are there because people want to capture power. And maybe you cannot go it alone. You must look for a partner who is coming to add value. So that when that value is added, you can be able to outcompete to gain a competitive advantage to capture power, so that you can be able to implement that manifesto. So my ODM colleagues, if they think they're big enough, let them go alone. And when you look at the trend analysis, they have been diminishing. They have a slow puncture. Look at 2007, look at 2013, look at 2017. The number of MPs have been going down. So we can't come here and claim that we are too big. We want a big sufuria. Let me tell you, there's this guy called Henry Ford. Henry Ford was an American industrialist, and he's the founder of Ford Motors. And he said, coming together is a beginning, Staying together is progress, and working together is success. In One Kenya Alliance, the parties that have come together is indeed a beginning, and we have many others who are coming. When you come here and you claim that KANU said it's not part of One Kenya, that is misleading.
Well,
Gideon Moi himself.
I didn't say it.
No, that's what you said. Gideon Moi let me finish.
SG who said
Gideon Moi is the glue in One Kenya Alliance.
Oh, is it?
That's one thing you need to know. And your own party leader, in Vega, he said you cannot rule out working together with these partners. That's what he said.
And that's true.
I never meant that I said he's joining us. And we are saying we welcome Raila Amolo Odinga, but let him come one among equals. In a game of football, it doesn't matter who scores. You might be a star, but you are marked by everyone. But you see someone in a vantage position, maybe it's Moses Masika Wetangula, or Gideon Moi, or Mudavadi, or Kalonzo. Give him the ball. Let him score. If he scores, we are winning as a team. And this is teamwork. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. But when you come with an opinion of entitlement, that if it's not me, and this is a narrative that led to the falling apart of NASA. And if they're going to come again with the same narrative, please, we rather remain few focused. There are those like-minded people who are going to join One Kenya Alliance, and we cannot rule out anyone because it's an issue of ideology. We understand the issues of this economy, and our technical team, as we speak right now, they are working on the manifesto.
Which you are a part of, I believe.
Yes, I'm a member. And I was privileged. I was also in CORD. I was also a member. Even in NASA, I was also a member. But as in One Kenya Alliance, we are not targeting an individual. Of course, we know corruption is a critical issue in this country. But we have institutions that are fighting corruption. So we are not coming together to target an individual. We are coming together to bring change, to capture power, and to ensure the economy of this country. Well, let me tell you about the public debt of this country right now as we speak.
Briefly, please.
Last time in Parliament, we had a motion to increase the ceiling to 9 trillion. As we speak right now, based on the budget that was just passed, the government has to borrow all in the tune of 900 billion. Honorable Wanga here is the chair of the Finance Committee. So already, we are going to be forced to increase the ceiling, maybe from that 9 trillion to something. When you look the percentage of the GDP, what we are borrowing, is almost 70 or 80%. But the rule of thumb in a growing democracies, it should be around 50%. Look at Kibaki's time. The Kibaki's time, when you look at the borrowing to the GDP, it was almost 48%. Right now, as we speak, we've gone beyond. A child who is being born today, he has a public debt that he has to pay.
Okay.
We must borrow wisely. When it comes to the issues of taxation.
As a parliamentarian, you have a role in that. I'll push you a little bit on that when we come back. And I know Honorable Tandaza also wants to weigh in on this, and Honorable Wanga as well. I'll give them a chance after the break. I don't want to interrupt them. Let's take that break. When we come back, I'll read some of your feedback, get a few more thoughts from my guests who represent what was known as NASA, sitting here in different capacities, representing different parties, and telling us what they plan to do moving forward. It's exactly 1 year, 6 days to the 2022 general election. And these are some of the thoughts of different players in the political class this evening. You're watching Newsnight. Stay with us. We'll be right back.